Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm doing a video here to inform anyone who is interested about Air Force ROTC scholarships, specifically the High School Scholarship Program, or HSSP. I've been fielding lots of questions about this at the Air Force ROTC unit that I work at, and so I'm going to do a video. Hopefully people will see it and it'll answer their questions. Now every year the High School Scholarship Program opens up for high school seniors. And this typically opens up around June and the window closes around January of the next year, which means that you need to have your application in and finalized by January, whatever the date is. This last year was January 17th, because sometimes it's January 31st. And there are boards that meet throughout the year. There are about 6 boards, I think, that meet throughout the year, depending on the year. And they'll look at your package, decide if you can be selected for a scholarship and what scholarship you're going to get. So you're going to go to AFROTC.com and click on the scholarship tab. That's going to get you to start the application. Now again, this is only when you're a senior. After about June of your senior year, you can start this application. It'll walk you through everything. You're going to have to do a PT test. You have to fill out some information, lots of information. You're going to have to create an account in Wings and process through that. You will also at some point have to get a DODMER physical, which is a military physical, so that you're certified good to go for military service, that sort of thing. Then you eventually will do an interview with Air Force, typically an Air Force ROTC unit that's in your area. So if you're close to me in my school, you would come to me and one of the other officers at our detachment would sit down and do an interview with you as a HSSP candidate, and then report that up to Air Force ROTC headquarters, and they will decide who gets a scholarship. Now, you go through all this, and you get a scholarship. There are 3 types of scholarships you're going to get. Now, the first scholarship, the best scholarship, is a Type 1. Type 1 will give you full tuition and fees for any school, in-state, out-of-state, public, private. It's the best one to get. I don't know exactly the number, but it's really rare to get that. I think it's around 5 or 10% of the people who get scholarships get a Type 1. The next up scholarship is a Type 2, and this scholarship is it gives you up to $18,000 per year. And this is more for your out-of-state school folks. If you're going to go out-of-state, you can get $18,000 toward college, or $18,000 in-state if your in-state tuition is that much. Here, our in-state tuition is about $10,000, so the Type 2 would definitely cover that. The next type is a Type 7. And with the Type 7 scholarship, it gives you full in-state tuition at the school that you're a resident of in that state. So if you're a resident of Michigan, you can go to Michigan State or University of Michigan, and it will cover your tuition right there. Now, if you're going to go out of state and you get a Type 7, that's a typical question I get. So what if I get a Type 7, but I'm not going to be going to school in the state that I'm in? Well, in that case, your Type 7 is going to be converted to a Type 2, which is good. That's a good part. The bad part is that Type 2 will go to a 3-year instead of a 4-year. So, because the Type 7 is not quite as good as a Type 2. So the Type 7 will get converted to a 3-year Type 2, and then you'll get $18,000 towards tuition for those 3 years, but that scholarship won't be activated until your sophomore year. Now, those are the 3 kind of scholarships you have: Type 1, Type 2, and Type 7. Type 7 is the most commonly given out. It's around 80% of them that are given out. Don't quote me on that, but it's around 70-80% of those are given out. The Type 2s are around 10%, and the Type 1s are around 10%. Maybe the Type 2s are 15%, something like that. Anyway, you get one of these scholarships, you'll get on the books of the detachment you're going to go to. Things to remember, though: you need to do the degree that you're applying for in your HSSP scholarship, because if you don't, you could definitely lose that scholarship. If you're going from a technical scholarship to a non-technical major, you will almost definitely lose your scholarship. So be aware of that. Also, the scholarships come with stipend, which is a good thing to know. Besides tuition, you get, it depends on the year, but you get anywhere from $350 all the way up to like $550 a year. It goes up every year by like $50 or $100, something like that. So by the time you're a senior, you get more money monthly stipend than you do when you're a freshman. And this stipend is also given out to cadets who are not on scholarship, who have finished field training and are coming back for their junior and senior year. And they come back from field training as a junior or senior, they'll sign a contract and they will start to get that stipend as well, but they won't get the scholarship. Not everyone is going to have a scholarship in our Air Force ROTC, that's just the way it goes. So be aware of that. It's not a program, it's not designed to pay for your school, it's designed to get you commissioned and trained to become an officer in the Air Force. So bear that in mind as well. Now, if you want to increase your chances of getting a high school scholarship, my best advice, besides obviously meeting the application criteria, they have criteria set for SATs, ACTs, GPAs, that sort of thing. They also have a class ranking if your school does have a class ranking, which not every school does. But those things are the minimum requirements to be considered for a high school scholarship in Air Force ROTC. But the best way that you can, if you want to really increase your chances, my best advice is to do well on that interview. The interviewer is going to ask you questions about your really typical interview questions. Do you work well as a member of a team? Would you rather work as a member of a team, or would you rather work by yourself? What happens when you get overloaded with a lot of work? How do you handle that? And give examples of when you had led it. The most important is to have examples of when you've actually led people in some kind of an effort. I know it's kind of rare for a high school student to do any kind of influential leadership positions, but some do, and if you are able to have that, that really increases your chances, because that officer is going to interview you and they're going to be like, wow, this person's got a really awesome experience in leadership, they're going to be a great officer someday, we should give this person a scholarship, and they're going to write you up as such, and you have very much a higher chance of getting a scholarship. So I would invest in some interview prep, have people practice interviews with you, that sort of thing, and just really analyze all of your experiences so you can come in and do the STAR method, which is your typical interview method, where you have a situation, I don't remember what the T stands for off the top of my head, the action that you took, and then the response. So you're going to try to tell them a story about this, and about how you are able to handle workload, how you're able to work with others, how you're able to work with diverse people and diverse backgrounds, and how you were able to lead people as well. Lead, follow, team member, diversity, all that stuff is important, and those things are going to need to be able to verbally explain how you are good in all those areas, and that's going to really increase your chance of getting a scholarship in the first place.